Another episode of Colts Talk presented by Prize Picks. Billy BB with you guys, ready to talk the latest with the Indianapolis Colts. OTAs continue, the offseason continues, and a lot to talk about with Indy. Today we'll get into Daniel Jones, how he's looking, the more that he's doing on the field, and how it matters to his recovery. We have a schedule update to discuss for Indy and kind of some things to look out for the fans in general. Plus, we have Colts trade rumors to discuss, a player the Colts could trade, a player the Colts could go out and get, multiple players actually that they could go out and get, and a player they're going to lose out on in general there. But as I said, we'll begin with Daniel Jones. Look, this is your starting quarterback for 2026. He is recovering from a major injury. Any update we can give you on Daniel Jones matters. You want to hear and see more and more from Daniel Jones after the Achilles tear and a broken fibula. Back-to-back injuries, right, in a small amount of time. 7-on-7 drills. Jones was cleared and has participated in the past few days. 7-on-7 drills. Again, you can say to yourself, look, it's OTAs, no tackling, no pads. Fine. Don't care. It's a major step in the recovery process. It was great to see him at OTAs doing light drills, right? A little bit of footwork, a little bit of passing. That surprised everybody. And then the next few days, you get into 7-on-7 drills. He's getting used to his receivers, the offense, growing that relationship. Again, he had the half season last year. So any opportunity he gets to bond with an Alec Pierce, a Josh Downs, a Tyler Warren, all that is very, very good. And again, 7-on-7, little more movement. He can feel some light, movement around him. It's good. It's a step forward in the recovery process. You're hoping this is a guy who stays healthy in 2026, comes into 2026 healthy. He told you he'll be ready to go week 1, which is why, again, these steps such as 7-on-7 and the drills he takes part in all are going to matter for Daniel Jones during the OTAs and the offseason. But if you want to give him a little extra help, just a little boost of energy / health / whatever you want to call it, help Daniel Jones out. Let's work together, Colts fans. Hit that thumbs up button. That'll bring good health to QB1. All right, the schedule news I did want to note for you guys. We're learning more about how things are going to operate in the preseason / training camps, joint practices between teams for Indy. When they travel to take on the New England Patriots, it will be a one-day joint practice with New England. Mike Vrabel announced that yesterday. When the Falcons come to take on the Colts in the preseason, they will do 2 days of joint practices. I'll note that second one. You guys can go check it out and attend and watch, and we'll see the highlights, and we'll get more information as training camp goes along. So Mike Vrabel and Shane Steichen giving us that information there. And again, a reminder of how the preseason looks for the Indianapolis Colts. They'll begin traveling to New England August 13th. They'll come back to take on the Falcons August 22nd, and they will also take on the Lions August 29th. That is the Colts preseason schedule in general there. So if you're interested in when and where and what's going on there, we're always keeping you up to date here on the show. We do need to get into some Indianapolis Colts trade rumors. Yes, because we have players for the Colts we'll talk about, and we have players the Colts were interested in that we need to talk about as far as trade rumors goes. Just a quick reminder, the Colts have a ton of cap room, a lot of trades, a lot of free agency. Indy is mentioned, kind of what's going on there as far as free agents and trades and additions go. The Colts are going to be at the center of so many of those opportunities there. Now, we're about to get to that in just 1 second, but first, do want to remind you guys, today's show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. And right now, I'm playing the Prize Picks app every single day. Why? It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. If you're in on the basketball playoffs, great. Good opportunity to win cash while watching sports. If you're not, it's almost over, right? The finals are starting. Make sure you take advantage. Put together those easy-to-make lineups, as this series gets going and game after game. With basketball, it's all about points, rebounds, assists, blocks, three-pointers. That's an example. Want to give you guys a football example chopped up by producer Aiden Paris here. This is a season-long lineup, and we were talking about Myles Garrett getting traded, and then we got a little pass rush happy here with the more on sacks for different players in the lineup. Ruben Bain, Myles Garrett, Quinnen Williams, Max Crosby, more, less if you want. That's how the lineups work here on Prize Picks. You pick the players, you pick more or less, and you lock in your lineups with their stats there. Plus, if you liked that lineup or any other lineup we've shown here on Colts Talk, with the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends, copy lineups with a single click. And again, that includes me or producer AP. You follow us on Prize Picks tailor-fade our picks and get the picks before they even get posted on the show at Billy_BB at CSAP. Prize Picks also now has early payouts, so if your player gets off to a hot start, maybe even in one of those season-long lineups, you have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Also, right now, new user offer. Download the Prize Picks app today with the link in the comment section and description. Then use code HMA. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Talked about a trade candidate for the Indianapolis Colts. Bleacher Report did another article, top names that could/should be traded for each and every team. And if you remember, we did a light rant when they listed Anthony Richardson a couple of weeks ago. Like, we're done with the Anthony Richardson trade rumors. We weren't done with them. They continued a while after, so shame on us maybe. Jaylon Jones was the name listed by Mo Moughton on Bleacher Report as a potential trade candidate for the Colts in general. Here's what Moughton said on Jones and the cornerback position. Last year, the Colts signed Charvarius Ward and acquired two-time All-Pro Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets, two established starters. This offseason, they signed Cam Taylor-Britt, who played under defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo with the Cincinnati Bengals from 2022 to 2024. Gardner and Ward have quality playing experience. Taylor-Britt has started in 40 games and knows the defensive system. Jones has an uphill battle for meaningful regular season snaps, though teams may see untapped potential from his one-year stint as a full-time starter. So you've got a situation where it's like maybe he doesn't fit with the Colts, but also other teams may be interested in here from what they've seen in the past. Before we dive a little bit deeper here, I do want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Jaylon Jones? Should the Colts hang on to him? Should the Colts trade Jaylon Jones? Type T for trade, K for keep. And the deal with Jaylon Jones last year, Colts leaned on him when they had injuries, and what happened? He got injured. He missed 7 games with a hamstring injury. If they were to trade Jaylon Jones, it'd be a savings of almost $4 million on the cap. And again, I will note in this situation, the Colts aren't necessarily a team that needs a bunch of cap room and are looking to make trade waves with the cap and whatnot. So I see that as like not necessarily a plus in general for that one there. So a couple of notes there about Jones. And overall, the idea of trading Jaylon Jones for me, it's about depth. The Colts had way too many injuries on defense last year, right? You saw some Kenny Moore miss times. I understand he's gone. I'm just recapping last year. Moore was out. Sauce missed time immediately after being traded. Charvarius Ward almost had career-ending injuries. Before you trade anybody from that cornerback room, you may want to tread lightly. Take it easy. Think about the depth. Think about who will play, who won't if somebody gets hurt, and be careful if you're the Colts as far as who you're going to trade away. Now, as far as players who we want to trade for here in Indy, Josh Sweat had your interest, Colts fans. When we did our trade rumors video, you guys were sold on Josh Sweat. And I can appreciate the fact that this fan base went into free agency believing they'd get Trey Hendrickson, believing they'd get Joey Bosa, believing they would get some type of number one pass rusher edge to put on that outside. Well, seems at this point in time, the latest reports, Josh Sweat is not being traded to the Packers were the most likely team, but the report from Ian Rappaport and many others, nowhere. The Josh Sweat trade talks are off the table. Look, teams are getting into the offseason. Conversations are being had. Time to attend things and be at things is coming up. So players are changing their minds a little bit. GMs are changing their minds a little bit. I wanted Josh Sweat really bad. I'll be honest. It's a little disappointing here. I was really latched on to the idea of the Colts finding a premier pass rusher, edge rusher, and the Sweat trade cost was like, Bleacher Report had listed at like a third, maybe a fourth. I thought it was more towards a second is what they were looking for. And again, at this point in time, doesn't look like it's happening with Josh Sweat. You guys may recall, though, I did say, I don't need the Colts giving up draft capital when they have free agency money, when there are good free agent options. And there are good free agent options in general right now. If Indy still feels they need a pass rusher, and again, the official stance from Chris Ballard is we'll see, which how do you not love that from your general manager as a fan, right? We'll see on the edge rusher position. Can't get enough. I can't get enough of that sort of stuff. All right, moving on. There are good pass rusher options in free agency right now. Here's a couple. Joey Bosa, Jadeveon Clowney, AJ Epenesa, who I will note signed with Cleveland. They failed him on his physical. He goes back to the free agent market. And then Cam Jordan remains a free agent. His flirting with New Orleans continues. His flirting with cryptic messages on social media continues. Some people spend their offseason a certain way, right? Joey Bosa just got married, so he's back from his honeymoon most likely. Let's see if he makes a decision soon here. And Jadeveon Clowney, I'll always say, not done yet, right? Every time we think he's out of the NFL, Jadeveon Clowney comes back and puts together some really solid stuff, as he did in 2025. Let's close out the video with word from you guys, Colts Nation. Let me know, who should the Colts sign? If you could pick one edge rusher to sign, who would it be? For Joey Bosa, type 1. For Jadeveon Clowney, type 2. AJ Epenesa, type 3. Or Cam Jordan, type 4.